Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, March 18th. My name is Mabel Williams.
And I'm Charles Abdulaziz, and these are the week's top stories.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford talked to reporters on Parliament Hill today discussing the tariffs with the U.S. Ford announced the U.S. trade representatives said a global tariff on trading partners is coming on April 2nd. Ford said they hope to be first on the list of exemptions. This comment came after last week's meeting in Washington with Secretary Lutnick. The investigation into a Toronto gynecology office continues after being linked to infections due to improper cleaning of medical instruments. Toronto Public Health has suggested that patients of Dr. Esther Park get tested for HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C if they received IUD insertions or had cervical growths removed between October 10, 2020 and October 10, 2024.
University of Waterloo's tapper Giovanni Villapa-Alman was sentenced another 7 years after the court cleared him on terrorism charge. Giovanni admitted guilt to multiple assault charges. The 2023 attack targeted a gender studies class that left 2 students and a professor injured. The court determined it was a hate crime against the LGBTQ+ community. After committing the crime, he ripped up a pride flag on a desk. He will be in prison for over 18 years.
Hundreds, possibly thousands of students were out on the streets of Waterloo, Ontario on Saturday to celebrate St. Patrick's Day despite a court order. The city of Waterloo was granted an order that meant police could arrest anyone and charge them involved in unsanctioned street parties over the weekend. That means that instead of just being given a ticket, partygoers could be charged with a criminal offense. Students who attended the parties say that they noticed more of a police presence. However, the streets were still packed.
A former principal of a Brampton school is suing Peel Regional Police after charges against him were stayed last September. The charges are for assaulting a 16-year-old student who attended the now-closed school. Comer's lawsuit, filed in August, claims violation of his charter rights, libel, and malicious prosecution. Peel Police deny wrongdoing, arguing that Kumar's legal action is banned by the time limits under the Limitation Act.
A 30-year-old man in Milton has been charged with stunt driving through Cambridge last night. Ontario Provincial Police say the vehicle was going 185 kilometers per hour on the 401 westbound near Franklin Boulevard. The man has been issued a 30-day license suspension and a 14-day vehicle impoundment.
Winter just doesn't want to let go. Even though we are well into March, cold temperatures are making a comeback. But is there any relief in sight, Nikhil?
Thanks, Charles. It's mid-March, but winter still has a grip on us. Temperatures still remain low, and just when we thought we are in the clear, another round of cold and strong wind shakes things up. So don't put away your jacket just yet. Also, there is a warmer trend on our way. Right now, the current temperature outside is at 12 degrees with mainly sunny skies and wind gust up to 32. As the day progresses, we can expect to see some cloudy skies joining in, which will continue throughout the day. The night temperature will be reaching up to 6 degrees with partly cloudy skies, and on Wednesday morning, expect the temperature to be around 6 degrees with cloudy skies and few sun breaks in between. That's our first quick look at the current weather. I'll be back with a more detailed weather forecast for the next 5 days later in the show. So keep watching. Back to you, Charles.
Spring is almost here, officially arriving on Thursday, March 20th. Soon, we will see warmer weather, flowers in bloom, and bees buzzing back to work in unexpected places rooftops. Up above several busy shopping centers in the GTA, rooftop hives are home to more than 160,000 honeybees. Local beekeeper and owner of Packed by Bees, Dave Strasberry, says the bees play a vital role in supporting urban biodiversity. They help fertilize community gardeners and balcony plants and green spaces as well. With habitat loss and environmental pressures impacting bee population, urban hives like these provide places for those pollinators to thrive. But what can we do?
You can save your bees by planting more wildflowers, by putting out water resources, by giving native pollinators shelters and things like that. So I think it gave people the tools and inspired them enough to say that I might be 10 floors up in an apartment building, but I still have a role to play. I can still do something for the pollinators out there.
With spring just around the corner, now is the perfect time to plant pollinator-friendly flowers and create bee-friendly spaces. Experts say these small actions can make a big impact as urban sustainability efforts grow. A second child has died after the house fire in Oshawa last week. The 12-year-old girl was taken to hospital after the fire started at their home on March 12th. Her mother and sister were both pronounced dead shortly after being pulled from the burning home. Her father was injured but is expected to survive. The Office of the Fire Marshal says that at this stage, the fire is not believed to be arson. A new report reveals that dangerous lead levels have been found in the drinking water of hundreds of Ontario schools. Tests show that half of the province's public schools have exceeded the federal lead safety guideline at least once in the last 5 years. The worst case was at a public school in Ottawa, where the lead levels were over 100 times the limit. The report urges the government to invest in removing lead infrastructure in schools. The Ministry of the Environment says corrective actions must be taken in the schools that exceed the safety guideline.
Starting April 5th, GO Bus Route 15 between Brantford and Burlington will be extended to serve 6 nations and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This extension will be the first time Metrolinx expands GO Bus service to the First Nations. The expanded service will run their trips a day in each direction, 7 days a week. The elected councils of the 2 First Nations say that the expansion will give community members more chances to connect with family, access essential services, and travel to job opportunities.
An explosive device was discovered at 181 Jackson Street West in Hamilton on Monday afternoon. Police were directed to a storage locker in the basement of an apartment building. The bomb squad was also called in for assessment. The explosive substance has since been handled and the area is now deemed safe. Police have not yet released any further information.
The City of Toronto is giving financial initiatives for electric vehicles used for hire by giving drivers and owners a discount in licensing and renewal fees to help them. But Mayor Olivia Shaw said that Tesla vehicles are no longer eligible for the initiatives. They will have to find a different kind of electric car. The decision is made in response to Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who is at the top advisor of the US President Donald Trump, who has imposed a trade war affecting all Canadians.
A Markham woman is considering taking legal action after finding a cockroach in her Tim Hortons coffee. The incident took place in Scarborough at the Golden Mile location on March 10th. According to Health Canada, cockroaches can contaminate food and spread disease by simply walking over surfaces after traveling through garbage or sewers. Tim Hortons spokesperson Michael Oliveira responded saying they are confident this didn't happen during the coffee packaging process due to their strict manufacturing controls.
Next, a week into his role as Prime Minister, Mark Carney outlines his first changes with top national and international stories later. But first, Alex's take.
The show Coming From Away is coming to a close in Toronto soon. For those of you who don't know this musical, it's about how people from Gander responded after the planes hit the Twin Towers on September 11th, 2001. When the U.S. closed its airspace, 38 commercial airplanes carrying about 6,500 passengers were forced to land in Gander, Newfoundland. The play shows about the best of human nature on a day when the worst possible human nature was on full display. The people of Gander sprang into action, making meals, providing shelter, and sharing their deep sense of Newfie community on a very dark day in history. Without hesitation, the people from Gander showed these people from all around the world what kindness looks like. It got me thinking, would Canadians respond the same? Canadians have always been the peacekeepers, the helpers, the friendly fixers. That is what we are known for. Besides, maple syrup, hockey, poutine, obviously. Despite the increasing anti-Americanism in Canada, I would like to think that if 9/11 happened today, Canadians would still rise to the occasion and they would put their differences aside and reach deep down to help their neighbors to the south.
Justin Trudeau said goodbye to Parliament Hill on Thursday, and now Canada has a new Prime Minister. Tara Habibi has more.
Mark Carney has began his first few days in office as he was officially sworn in as the new Prime Minister of Canada on Friday morning. The ceremony took place at Rideau Hall in Ottawa, where Carney officially became the 24th Prime Minister of Canada.
I, Mark Carney, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will truly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trust reposed in me as Prime Minister.
Mark Carney's first move in office on Friday was to cut the consumer carbon tax. Carney signed a prime ministerial directive instructing that the fuel charge be removed effective April 1st, and that April's carbon rebates still proceed as planned.
It's my honor, on behalf of my colleagues, to sign this.
Carney also took his first international trip as PM, where he went to Paris to visit French President Emmanuel Macron and then London to visit King Charles. While in Paris, Prime Minister Mark Carney and President Emmanuel Macron discussed U.S. President Donald Trump's continuous attacks on Canada's sovereignty and economy. King Charles also welcomed Mark Carney as he visited Buckingham Palace. It was a brief meeting with little publicly known about it, except that it took place.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I want to begin by expressing my deep gratitude to His Majesty King Charles III for his warm welcome and gracious hospitality that he showed me, he showed Canada with today's audience. We have a steadfast defender in our sovereign.
Mark Carney has previously stated his plans to call an election, although nothing has been announced yet. We will keep you updated. I'm Tara Habibi for the Sheridan Sun.
The U.S.-Canadian border has dropped nearly 500,000 travelers this February compared to last year. According to data from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the border crossings haven't been this low since COVID-19. The data shows that the sudden reversal happened at the same time U.S. President Donald Trump launched his trade war. This is affecting family-run stores that work on the Canadian side of the land border. Prime Minister Mark Carney insists that he will remain in place until Americans show respect to Canadians.
The second set of remains found at the Prairie Green landfill in Winnipeg has been identified as those of Mercedes Moran, age 26. Moran is one of the 4 Indigenous women who were victims of convicted serial killer Jeremy Skipicki in 2022. Only one victim still remains unknown, a woman who was given the name Mashkud Bizhiwaki of Buffalo Woman by community leaders. Premier Wapnu says the search at Prairie Green will continue for a few more weeks to find additional remains of the victims.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh announced his party would cancel Canada's purchase of F-35 jets from the U.S. They would instead push for Canadian-built aircrafts. Singh says this would create jobs and enhance national security. Experts warn that canceling the contract entirely would come with penalties and delay military plans. The debate continues as Canada explores alternatives to replacing aging CF-18 fleet.
After receiving a royal assent, Alberta's Bill 26 is restricted health care from minors in the 2S LGBTQ+ community. What do Ontarians think about it? Here's Ruth Albert with more about the story.
Alberta's Bill 26, officially called the Health Statutes Amendment Act, which bans hormonal therapy and puberty blockers to minors under 16, faces legal challenges. This is making the community think how it could affect the rest of Canada and especially Ontario.
Worry that things would spread to other provinces in Canada, especially considering even though this bill is in effect, there wasn't really any bills in effect preventing this or promoting it prior to this bill. So I would assume that other provinces will probably take, hopefully not a similar stance, but there will be other bills regarding this in other provinces after this, I think, yeah, for sure.
Additionally, the bill also has added definitions to terms like gender dysphoria, gender incongruence, minor, and prohibits sex reassignment surgeries to minors.
Disheartening, all of the fear mongering and stuff against trans people in today's society, considering trans people are kind of like the backbone of our society in a way. Okay. They're very important to me, especially all my friends are trans people and I identify myself as non-binary, so it's really heartbreaking for them to do this, considering how I feel as though gender affirming care, especially to youth, is life-saving. It can be really hard to deal with that stuff at that.
Bill 26 in Alberta might also hinder any progress that Ontario's Gender Affirming Advisory Committee Act, which was introduced in 2022, has made so far.
I feel they should stick together and support each other at the best and try not to freak out, because they're all rules. They're there for you as well. They're always there to support you, end of the day, rather than causing more trouble. So I feel maybe there are some clauses that might come out after that.
Although the repercussions of this bill is yet to be seen, a Toronto-based LGBTQ community has joined hands in support for the community to fight for their rights, their safety, and their freedom. This is Ruth Albert for Sheridan Sun.
Hudson's Bay is beginning a sell-off of their entire business starting as early as today. The sell-off would put an estimated 9,000 jobs at risk. Lawyers for the company have said in an Ontario court hearing Monday morning that the sell-off would span over 80 stores. Hudson's Bay is still holding out hope for funding from potential buyers.
Forever 21 files bankruptcy in the U.S. due to mounting online fast fashion competition and weak mall traffic. The retail store filed for bankruptcy for the second time in 6 years. The stores and website will remain open through the process, and international stores will be unaffected. Forever 21 is planning a liquidation sale in its stores while it goes through a court-supervised sale and marketing process. Its estimated worth is around $100 million to $500 million.
President Donald Trump called for the impeachment of the U.S. district judge who tried to hold portions of Venezuelan migrants. Chief Justice John Roberts issued a rare statement today in response. He rebuked Trump for calling to impeach judges who have ruled against his administration. Roberts says impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning the decision.
After President Trump's announcement last week about Ukraine accepting the U.S. proposed 30-day ceasefire, there have been some talks about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky posted on his social media account his opinion about the U.S. proposal. President Zelensky called out President Putin about not accepting the ceasefire proposal, showing how it is a matter of time for saving human lives in the countries involved. This afternoon, after a long hours phone call, President Putin and President Trump have agreed to seek a limited ceasefire against critical energy infrastructure in Ukraine for 30 days. Putin has also called for an end to foreign aid as a peace condition. Updates are still incoming.
Israel launched airstrikes on Gaza earlier today. The attacks ended a ceasefire in place in January. Israel says the strikes are due to failure of progress in the talk. Gaza officials reports over 400 dead and 500 wounded, mostly women and children. Among the dead is Abu Hamza, a top Islamic Jihad group commander. Hamas warns the strikes put hostages talk at risk, while Israel says the operation will continue. Serbian rights groups accused the Serbian government of using long-range acoustic devices or sonic weapons on peaceful protesters last weekend. A crowd of over 100,000 people attending an anti-corruption rally in Belgrade separated in panic after hearing loud, sharp noises. Around 500 citizens have since reported feeling vertigo-like symptoms. Serbian officials have admitted to owning sonic weapons but deny using them during the protest.
2 astronauts who have been stuck on the International Space Station since last summer will finally be back today. Astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore were supposed to be on a mission for a few weeks in the International Space Station in June on Boeing's Starliner aircraft. It turned into a 9-month stay after NASA considered it unsafe to return to the aircraft. A SpaceX rocket took the astronauts who will replace Wilmore and Williams in the International Space Station last Saturday. They spent a few days handling over duties while Williams and Wilmore returned to Earth in the aircraft that carried the new astronauts in. The journey back will last 17 hours and they will land approximately at 5:57 p.m. Entertainment and sports news after the short break. Conan O'Brien is back hosting next year's Oscar. And the Leafs dominated their game last night against the Calgary Flames. We still have 2 minutes. The fuck? Oh. I'm like, the fuck?
What is that thing with the black thing?
I think it's a dead tree. Oh, there he is.
Here's Isaac Hunt catching us up on the week's entertainment news.
Belgian actor Amélie de Keen has died at 43. Her family and agent told the French news agency AFP of her death on Sunday. She passed away in a hospital outside of Paris. In 2023, she revealed that she had been diagnosed with adrenal cortex cancer. De Keen was only 18 when she won Best Actress at the Cannes Film Festival for a breakout role in the Darden's brother film Rosetta. In 2012, she won the Uncertain Regard Actress Prize from Cannes for Our Children and a César Award in 2021 for Love Affairs. Conan O'Brien is returning to the Oscars stage next year. The ceremony is set for March 15th. This year was his first time hosting the show, which attracted its biggest broadcast audience in 5 years. An estimated 19.7 million viewers watched this year's ceremony earlier this month, with a big increase among audiences aged 18 to 49. It's driven by mobile and laptop watches from younger viewers. The Oscars was also the most watched primetime entertainment show of 2025. The band Semisonic is pushing back at the White House for using their hit song Closing Time over social media posts that showed a shackled deportee. The video was captioned with the song's lyrics, "You don't have to go home, but you can stay here." The band says in a statement that they didn't authorize or condone the song's use in any way, and that the song is about joy, possibilities, and hope. Semisonic joins a long list of performers who've objected to Trump using their songs, including ABBA, Bruce Springsteen, Rihanna, Celine Dion, and more. Trump is visiting the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. It's his first time at the marquee arts institution since he began remaking it at the start of his second term. He took a tour and chaired a meeting of its board of directors. Trump fired the previous board, replacing members with loyalists and making himself chairman. He complained of tremendous disrepair ahead of the board meeting, saying the center represents a very important part of DC and the country. He also discussed plans to improve the Kennedy Center and its upcoming artistic programming. A New Mexico court has granted a temporary restraining order against the release of certain records relating to the investigation into the recent deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa. A representative for the couple's estate is seeking to block the public release of autopsy and investigative reports, especially photos and videos. A hearing has been scheduled for later this month to argue the merits of the request. Authorities have confirmed that Hackman died of heart disease with complications from Alzheimer's about a week after his wife died from hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. They were both found in their home in Santa Fe in February. Now here's Jesse with an update in sports.
Thank you, Isaac. Starting in the NHL, the Leafs hosted the Calgary Flames last night, where the Leafs looked to bounce back after a tough loss just 2 nights earlier. We'll start this one off in the second period as we have a lot to cover with both teams knotted 1. The Leafs would come out strong as a minute 39 into the period, forward William Nylander would score a quick one-timer assisted by Austin Matthews. This would be the start of a dominant second period from the Leafs as they would go on to score 3 more unanswered goals, giving them a comfortable 5-1 lead. The first goal coming from forward Nicholas Robertson, giving him his 12th of the season, with the other pair of goals coming from captain Austin Matthews, giving him his 25th and 26th. The momentum would continue over for the Leafs into the third period as just 3 minutes into the third, forward Bobby McMann would add another goal, making it 5 unanswered goals for the Leafs, putting them up 5. Calgary would try to fight back, but it was just not possible as they could only score 1 goal late in the third period off the stick of defenseman Kevin Ball. The Leafs would take this one in a comfortable 6-2 win over the Flames and look to carry this win into tomorrow night's game against the Avalanche. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. Eastern. Switching things into the NBA, the Raptors faced off in Phoenix last night against the Suns. The Raptors have won 6 of their last 8 and are looking to keep the momentum high, facing a tough Phoenix team. The Raptors would come out strong, even having the lead over the Suns by the end of the first, being up 29-24. But that would change quickly as the Raptors would get outscored 39-11 in the second quarter, with the Suns taking a 23-point lead into halftime. The Raptors would try to come back, but it was tough as they faced many injuries, including small forward RJ Barrett. Raptors Scotty Barnes would finish with 16 points and 4 rebounds, but it would not help as they would fall hard 129-89, dropping them to 24 and 45 on the season. The Raptors look to bounce back on Thursday against the Warriors. Looking at the MLB now, spring training has wrapped up and the 2025 regular season is underway. The Toronto Blue Jays are looking to bring an exciting season to the city of Toronto, especially after the season they had last year. In 2024, the Jays finished 5th in the AL East at 74-88 with their worst record in the past 4 years. Now, in 2025, they look to bounce back with Bo Bichette back healthy and strong sluggers like Vladdy and new free agent signing Anthony Santander. the Jays look to do some damage in the American League. You can catch the Jays opening season game tonight against the Baltimore Orioles. First pitch is at 6:05 p.m. Eastern. Finally, in some news from the NCAA, the annual March Madness tournament starts today, where we see 68 college and university teams face off against each other in a single elimination bracket style tournament. The tournament will take place over the next 3 weeks, where we will see the top ranked basketball programs face off against each other in hopes of being the last team standing. Tip-off starts later today with 4 teams facing off, where we could see the potential start of a Cinderella story. First game starts tonight at 6:40 p.m. Now it's time to look at the full 5-day weather forecast with Nikhil.
Thank you, Jesse. Spring officially starts today, but Toronto is in some wild weather changes this week. After a warmer temperature are set to drop quickly as the winter storm moves in, bringing below freezing overnight temperature by midweek. A Colorado low will come through the Great Lakes, will push the temperature down and will build with the milder air, bringing high in the low teens. But don't get too comfortable, as another storm is expected by the end of the week, and leading to a sudden cool down once again. With these rapid temperature swingings, be sure to dress in layers and check the latest weather update for the weather network before stepping out. Now for our 5 days weather forecast. Wednesday, we can expect a high of 16 and a low of 10 degrees with partly sunny skies, which will continue throughout the day, and wind gust up to 38 kilometers. As the day progresses, we can see cloudy skies with 40% chance of rain for the most of the night. And on Thursday we will have a high of 12 and a low of -2 degrees. The day will bring mainly cloudy skies with light rain in between. We can expect to see some peaks of sun in the afternoon with mainly cloudy skies, which will continue overnight into the evening and the entire night as well. And for Friday, we have a high of 7 and a low of 4 degrees with few clouds in the morning. Then we'll see mainly sunny skies by the afternoon. Also, the wind will remain gentle, and by the evening, skies will be clear from cloudy condition, but will turn it around by the overnight. It will feel cooler by -1 degrees. After a cold Friday night, on Saturday, we can expect the temperature to be around 4 degrees and a low of -4 degrees. There will be few cloudy skies in the morning with 40% chances of light rain multiple times during the afternoon, and by the night time we will find mostly cloudy skies continuing throughout the night. Again, the last on Sunday, we'll see a high of 3 and a low of 1 degrees. It's a messy mixed day of everything. The morning starts with partly sunny skies with a chance of light rain, which will slow down by the afternoon, giving its way to a mainly sunny day. We can expect to see more sun for like about 9 hours in the skies. By the evening, we'll have partly cloudy skies and a chance of few flurries, which will continue throughout the night. Also, it will feel cooler by -3 degrees. With temperatures and weather conditions jumping around, it's best to stay prepared for anything. Stay safe and dress accordingly. Back to you, Mabel.
A couple's special moment was caught on camera by a photographer while doing a different shoot. Julie McDonald has the story.
It's gonna sound really cliche, but I just really love love. Like, I'm such a hopeless romantic.
When Boston photographer Becca Thompson noticed the look of love on Saturday, she couldn't help but capture it. She'd been taking photos in Beacon Hill, right near beautiful Acorn Street.
And I turned around and I saw him down on one knee and saw they didn't have a photographer. So I just decided to run over for a quick second. It was a picturesque moment. Thankfully, I had the right settings and the lighting was great.
A testament to her professionalism, Becca quickly turned back to her own clients. She didn't want to take time from their shoot, but that meant she couldn't connect with the newly engaged couple.
It's been in the works for a little while. I've had a ring since about Christmas.
Benjamin McCormick had pulled off the picture-perfect proposal, surprising his now bride-to-be Isabel Gerard.
his brother actually took a video, and in the background of the video you can actually hear a camera shutter.
Thanks to social media, it didn't take long to figure out to whom that shutter belonged.
The notification just started rolling in, and she ended up commenting on the TikTok and was like, oh my God, this is me.
After her stunning images gained views and likes and shares, Becca is pinching herself. Her followers have more than doubled, and she's already booked shoots with new clients.
It's very serendipitous. I texted my boyfriend earlier. I was like, this is the best day of my life, because doing photography full time has been a dream for me since I was a freshman in high school, and it just seems like this is pushing me further into it.
Her talents now the happy couple's treasure. 3 grateful strangers in a meant-to-be moment.
It's so special, and we know that we're going to treasure those photos forever, and we really couldn't be luckier that this happened.
Julie McDonald, WBZ News.
That's a look at this week's top stories. I'm Mabel Williams.
And I'm Charles Abdulaziz. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.